And so good morning once again. Now we are now with our 8-week lesson, no? Second to the last week before our final examination. So for today, we're gonna discuss the lesson about rationalizing the leadership styles, qualities and traits of leadership theories, types of power in the workplace, leadership, and communication. So by this time, I would assume with our previous lessons, now with our previous discussion, I really hope that you really get the main idea of this subject, which is the human behavior in the organization. No? Which means to say that ulit-ulit na akong ingon na this subject will really help us, especially in the field of HR, that we should be the first person to understand others. Okay, each one of us has different upbringing. We grow in different environments, na different influences. That's why dili gid nato malalis, dili gid nato ma-argue nganong naa ni siya bad side, na siya lahi nga trait nga dili nimo masabtan. It's because again, different ang environment nato ang gidak-an, no? So with this subject, we are hoping na with the previous lesson, mga motivational theories, mga job satisfaction, and yung mga reasons nga like mga conflicts, intergroup conflicts, and so on, itong mga lessons is mas nasabta nato, no? O mas kita mismo makasabot as a person nga daay yung naatay panaglahi-lahi na mga personality nga attitude. And with that, if we're gonna have that, diba mo to ang pinaka-aim ani nga human behavior, to have a healthy relationship, among others. Especially that, as you go outside, mag-graduate mo po, you're gonna find your work. So you're gonna be dealing different kinds of persons, mga co-employees nimo, imong boss. So kay naamataan nga subject, balikan jud natin yung very foundation na sabton jud nato na ay different personality ta. No? Now with this lesson, we're gonna understand how leader works, or how a certain person who leads an organization works. No? Kaya meron tayong i-rationalize natin yung mga leadership styles, qualities, traits, theories, types of power, and also the communication. Now let's start. So ano pala yung leadership? So when we say leadership, it is a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. So it is also a process by which a person influences others to accomplish an objective and directs the organization in a way that makes it more cohesive and coherent. Now that's according to North House 2007. So also, leaders carry out this process by applying their leadership knowledge and skills. So this is called the process leadership. And at the same time, leaders have traits that can influence actions, and this is called trait leadership. Again, pag ang leader is nag-carry siya ng proseso sa pag-apply sa iyang leadership knowledge and skills, ang tawag noon ay process leadership. Pero pag ang leader na siya mga traits na maka-influence sa actions, no, sa uban nga tao, that is what you call trait leadership. Alright? So, balikan natin, no, or i-emphasize natin ang word na leadership because this is the very foundation of this lesson. No? Sabi dito, leadership is a process whereby an individual influences, nag-influence daw, na ang isa ka tao nag-influence sa grupo, no? Grupo of mga people, or let's say if we are in an organization, working organization, group of employees para ma-achieve, para makabot nila, no, ang isa ka common goal nila, or kung saan lang gusto na, like let's say na sila gusto nga buhaton, that's their common goal. let's say to increase sales. So that's their common goal. Or let's say to create a product, that's their common goal. So ikaw nga tao, if ikaw ang maka-influence, no, maka-influence ka sa ibang tao to achieve a common goal, then you are a leader. Now, talking about that, no, basi na ang iban nga, ay dili man ko leader ma'am kay wala man ko posisyon, no? Dili man ko leader ma'am kasi wala man ko gi-appoint. No. Again, this definition is clearly pointing out that leadership does not bound, no, again, leadership does not bound to a position. Dili siya nagalimit sa usa ka posisyon. Kay anyone can become a leader. Diba? Dili mo klaro kayo. So long as you can influence, no, maka-influensya ka sa uban na mo trabaho para makabot or mabuhat ang usa ka butang, ma-accomplish ang usa ka buthang, then that can become that is already a leadership, no? You can also become leader kung maka-influensya ka sa uban na mubuhat, no? You have that kind of skill, you have that kind of art, no, which is the leadership. And another, leadership is also the process by which person influences others to accomplish an objective and directive, or directs the organization in a way that it makes more cohesive, no? Cohesive and coherent daw, according to Northhouse. So when you say cohesive and also coherent, if ikaw tong tao, di ba, maka-influence ka sa uban na mo mulihok, matrabaho, mahuman ang trabahoon, at the same time, no, ikaw tong tao nga makapahimo more cohesive and coherent working environment inside the organization. When we say cohesive or cohesive, no, it means that there is what they call kanang marog unity, no? Coherent mo tanan. Okay, so pero everything is clear. So ba na ko siya pagsabi sa iya pa. Coherent, I mean, organized, ana ba? Tanan mo nga nasa usa ka organization are working together as one, united, ana ba? So that's the meaning of being coherent, no? Unified tanan ang working ninyo, and at the same time you are working as one. That's being coherent, no? Uniform, or I mean, hanay mong tanan. So you are having that leadership. And then, yun na nga, pag nag-carry ka o proseso sa pag-apply sa leadership through your knowledge and skills, that's what you call process leadership. And when you have that trait, no, mga maka-influence sa uban, that's what you call trait leadership. Okay? Question so far? None. Okay. If there are none, then let's proceed to the 4 factors of leadership. So, paano na to maingon, no, na you have that kind of leadership, or you have the leadership. Leader is the person, no, that influence others to work. Leadership is the action, no, that influences others to work. That's different thing, ha. Ang leadership is already the process, ang proseso, ang action nga naga-influence ka sa ibang tao, but the leader itself it's a person. Now we are talking of leadership. Again, unsa day ang mga factor, unsa day ang gina-consider na mga factors na makaingon ka that you have leadership, na maka-influence ka of the process, na maka-influence sa uban, na maka-accomplish o isa ka task or isa ka goal. Now, number 1 is a leader, of course, no? So, yun na nga, syempre, how can you practice leadership if you are not a leader? So again, let me emphasize na leader, when you talk of leader, it does not bound only to a position, nga gitalaga ka, nga giingon nga president ka, giingon nga vice president ka, and so on. No, it does not bound on the position. No, anyone can become a leader. No, how do we do that? No, kasi kindly take note, when you talk of a leader, no, a leader must understand who she is or who he is. No, so mag-share na lang kami. Screen share ko sa inyo. I-type na. Ayan. Okay, so 4 factors of leader. So again, paano mo malaman na even though you don't have position that you can become a leader? So you must understand, who are you, who he or she is, what he or she knows, and what he or she can do. Okay, so a leader must understand who he or she is. A leader must also understand what he or she knows and what he or she can do. So again, kung ikaw ay leader, dapat masabtan nimo, no? Masabtan nimo kung unsa ka, unsa imuhang posisyon, not posisyon nga president ka whatsoever. Ang imuhang point, asa ka mo lugar ba, no? Kabalo ka unsa stand nimo, kabalo ka, no, mosabot, no, unsa ang mga knowledge nga nasa imuha, kabalo ka unsa imong kaya na buhaton. No, that's how a leader works. Now, the follower, not the leader, determines if the leader is successful. So a leader has to convince his or her follower that he is or she is worthy of being followed. A leader must also seek self-improvement and continually strengthen his or her attributes. So this can be accomplished through self-study, interacting with others, reflection, and attending formal classes. So a leader should seek ways to guide the organization to new heights. He or she should seek and take responsibility for his or her action. So those things that I have mentioned are already coined, no, or explained in this statement. Kay kung leader ka, kabaluman ka, no, mag-improve sa imong kaugalingon, kay kabalo if you have that kind of drive, no, to become a leader, kabalo ka unsa ang buhaton niya. Syempre dili man ta pwedeng self-taught always, di ba? Kanang okay, kabalo na ko sa tanan, ayon na ko istoryahe, ayon na ko explain. No, if you're a leader, you need to seek self-improvement. How? So like attending formal classes. Not only that, you can also read a lot of books, kasi with the books that you're going to read, you can learn, no? Sabi nga nila, what makes a businessman successful is not by watching TV, is not by going around a tour, it's not by spending time with luxurious things, but they spend, no, most percentage of their time, let's say 80%, no, or 70% of their time by reading books, reading valuable and good books. Kita kay pag naantay time no guilty mangitaan ni daghan time tatag TV, lag-lag sa etc. So unsa may makuha nato? Yes, we can have pleasure, happiness, pero iba ang businessman mag-isip, iba ang mga entrepreneurs mag-isip. Instead of having those happy times, they spend time more on reading, on learning, on self-improvement. So that's one, no, factor nga magkaroon ka og leadership, maka-influence ka sa uban to work or to accomplish a certain goal. Do you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Second factor that you can have leadership is a follower. No? So leaders must know their employees' needs, emotions, and attributes to be able to motivate them. So an employee who lacks motivation requires a different approach than one with a high degree of motivation. So different people require different style of leadership. So when you have that leadership, no, you need to consider that you have your followers. No, when we say follower, this is a person who adhere, or let's say devote, no, particular, let's say a particular cause or reason. Wait lang for a while ha, may tawag. Okay, sorry for that interruption. So again, when we talk of a follower, no, this is a person who adhere or nagadevote for a particular cause or reason or activity. So or meaning nagasunod, no, so sa ka person ba, so sa ka rason, sa ka activity. So when you have that leadership, you need to acknowledge that you have followers. Di man ka pwede mahimong leader kung wala kay tagasunod, not tagasunod nga mga ulipon, but I mean, your subordinates, no? So, you need to acknowledge, sabi ko nga kanina, you need to acknowledge that they have their needs. No? You need to acknowledge that they have acknowledge their needs, that they have their emotions, they have different attributes to be able to motivate them. Diba sa atuang I think it was the sixth week lesson, nag-discuss og motivational theories. Sixth week lesson. So sa motivational theories, gi-explain dito nga ang bawat tao na ay kanya-kanyang kanya-kanyang drive, no, kanya-kanyang motivation ano naga-work. Let's say specifically on the theory of Douglas MacGregor, theory X and Y. Theory X are commonly known as those people na what you call this, they need to have sige term ana kanang authoritative way of leadership para mag-drive sila to work. While theory Y, they are those people who don't need to have authoritative kind of leadership kay naa na sila, init na sila mo trabaho daan. Naapoy tao nga driven, ma-motivate sila, kay driven sila sa extrinsic, no, motivation or extrinsic reward. Naapoy tao nga driven sila sa intrinsic reward, no, malipay sila, mas magana sila trabaho kung nagaan sila dako ang sweldo, ang isa pud ka tao mas gana siya mo trabaho kung challenging iyang work. So kana nga mga butang i-acknowledge na nimo nga naay mga inana ang mga followers nimo. So how would you do that? You need to develop good leadership, no? So that's it. Another is the communication. So, syempre. Now, when we talk of communication, so this is very essential. We all know, I don't need to expound it. Kabulot ang say communication. So when we talk of communication, kailangan niyong i-acknowledge that this will build or harm the relationship between the leader and his or her employee. Again, build or harm. Now, this will build or harm the relationship between the leader and his or his or her employees. So, when you acknowledge that one, no, di ba? Dili ka magpataka o communication, I mean, what do you call that? Reprimanding your employees, your followers is a form of communication. Talking to them, giving them informations are all forms of communication. Doing gestures are form of communication. Diba, when you talk of communication, we have um, uh, you can have facial expressions, you can have verbal, you can have non-verbal. So with all these things, you need to make sure that as a leader, no, it will not harm, it will not bring harm. Instead, it will build the relationship to your follower, to your employees. So with that, kailangan nimo silang sabton, kailangan nimo silang intindihon, no? And also, if dili man all the time, you need to let them understand the very the value or the purpose of their work. Eh, kung siyempre, kung wala sila kabalo, I mean, you need to remind them, kabalo mag-good down sa itong ginatrabaho, no? But you need to remind them how important their work is, whether it's small or whether it's big, para mas ma-feel nila na ang ilang ginatrabaho yun are really something or something that will impact the organization as a whole. So it is impossible to become a great leader without being a good communicator. So great communicator is a skill that reading a person or group by sensing the moods, dynamics, attitude, values, and concerns of those being communicated. So that's what I have explained already. That when you become a leader, you need to make sure that you know how to strike a balance, no, between your personal emotion to the right thing that you need to do inside the organization. Na kay mga personal problems, na kay mga personal things na ginadala within yourself, keep it in you na lang. Dili na nimo ipagawas nga maglagot pa ka, mag-ano ka sa imong mga empleyado. The last factor of leadership is the situation. No? So, situations normally have a greater effect on a leader. No, or greater effect on a leader's action than his or her traits. This is because while traits may have an impressive stability over a period of time, they have little consistency across situations. So a leader must use his or her judgment to decide which leadership style and the best course of action to use for its situation. So kung ikaw ang leader, no, factor rin siya mahimo magkaroon ka ng good leadership or leadership, you need to assess what kind of situation you are in. Situation you are in. Let's say na ay problema sa isang organization. So ikaw dapat what do you call that? Good state of mind. No, you're in a good state of mind to decide things that will carry, things that will matter when that situation will happen. May challenges, may mga problema. Dili ka magpadala sa init ng ulo. No, you need to weigh in. You need to parang if you have that leadership, you need to assess, no, your judgment, your decision on that specific situation. Okay, question, clarification. Kaptan, okay, sige. Now, those were the factors. Now, let's proceed to the leadership styles. No? So, meron tayong 11 leadership styles. I would assume na nana mo siguro yung background about leadership styles. Naana ba? With your previous, maybe other classes. Let me call on now someone from the class. Or sige, ako na lang una. Explain muna ako sa leadership style and then you follow. Okay. So, we have now the leadership style. So, when you talk of leadership style, so we already understand that leadership is the process by which a person influences others to work. Now, style is the style, yung estilo nimo, no, sa nimo pagproseso ato nga leadership. That's what you call leadership style. First one, no, is the agentic leadership. So this derives from the term agency. So this leadership style
It's found in the business field by a person who is in control of their subordinate. Okay, control of their subordinate. Control of their subordinates. Yeah. Okay, so also this person demonstrates assertiveness, competitiveness, independence, courageousness, and is a master in achieving their task at hand. So again, this derives from the word, from the term agency. No? Agentic leadership points out that a person can control or has the ability to control sa iyang mga nasakupan, sa iyang mga under. No? It's like, di ba, the concept of agency is like, you are an agent, you are lobbying concerns, you are lobbying process, information, or something like document for another person. So this is like this concept, na agentic leadership. You have the control over your leadership. And when you have that control, syempre, dili man ka pwede nga tuuhan, no? Hindi maka-control sa imong subordinates if you are not assertive, if you are not competitive, if you lack knowledge. So kani siya nga agentic leadership, ang iyang characteristic ani is nasa assertiveness. Ibig sabihin pag nasa mga idea, he or she really intends to push it. Assertiveness, also competitive pud ni kind of leadership. Another is syempre kailangan niya magkaroon ng independence. Kasi nga, nag-control siya over the others. So, he or she needs to decide for herself. And also, of course, it needs to take courage. So, dapat na siya courageousness. And lastly, he or she is a master, no, in achieving their task at hand. So, muna ang pinaka-nature sa agentic leadership style. Master niya, kabalo siya unsaon paghuman sa usa ka task. But of course, dili na niya pwede pod na buhaton alone. Because again, we are talking of leadership and we already know that the factors of leadership, one is follower. Diba? There's a leader, there's a follower. So, kailangan to niya ma-achieve ang task pinaagi sa pag-control sa iyang mga subordinates. Okay, the very common one, the second is autocratic leadership. May I call on, let's say, Marilyn Rondina. Can you explain what is autocratic leadership? Marilyn Rondina. Rondina. Darling. Wa pa ako kadungog sa imong ha. Wala pa ko na butang sa akong class record para sa imong oral recitation. Ang the rest kay naka-isa-isa man ako ni sila sa last class eh.
Ma'am.
Yes, dear. What's your idea about autocratic leadership?
Wait lang, ma'am, ha.
Okay, dear, I can't wait. Cannot wait for that long. Okay,
Ako na lang, ma'am.
Let's give a chance last ka, no? Rondina. Nawala si Rondina, no? Nawala. Ayun na, anak.
Ako na lang.
Sige, Marilyn.
Ako, ma'am.
Idea, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wala siya. Ayun niya. Sino yung nag-volunteer? Speak
Ako
up.
na lang, ma'am. Ako, ma'am.
Yun
Ay,
na.
ma'am. Dapat ko, ma'am.
Oh, sige, Marilyn. Oh, sige, go, Marilyn. I cannot wait for you. No? Kasi marami pa tayong i-discuss.
Ma'am,
Idea lang. Idea
ako
lang.
ma'am, ang autocratic leadership ma'am kay kanang nagakuan siya ma'am kanang nagahatag og kanang style na gamiton para sa mga employee.
Number 4.
What do you mean by style? Ano sa mga style nga ginakuan?
Kanang ilang next activity na buhaton, ma'am. Next activity nila na kanang next goal nila na buhaton.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Rondina. I think the thing that you're explaining to us is the generic thing that a leader should do. Siyempre, when you are a leader, you really need to share it to your employees, no, or to your subordinates, to your colleagues, the things that they need to do. That's a specific thing, or that's a general thing that a leader should do. But what I'm trying to ask is, what kind of leadership style? Like this one, sa agentic, ang pinaka characteristic niya is naga-control siya sa iyang subordinates, no? By having these characteristics, assertiveness, competitiveness, and so on. Now, how about autocratic? Some more? Let me have...
Ako na lang, ma'am.
Sino ito? When you say
ma'am.
ako, kindly...
Ako, ma'am. Sugabo, ma'am.
Ayun. Ano daw? Sino? Sugabo
Sugabo
siya yun?
po.
Yes,
Apo.
Miss Sugabo.
Ano, ma'am? Person controls all decisions and take very title inputs from other group members.
Ayan. Okay. So, when you say autocratic, controls the members and takes the title of others' work. Tama? Yung may sinabi mo, takes entitlement, or takes credit. No? Takes credit of others' work. Is that what you said,
Yes po.
Charlinda? Ayan. Okay? Kasi from the word, no? From that word, I think this is the very basic. Hindi lang siya dito sa human behavior na discuss. Na this is already discussed with your previous topics as well. No? So autocratic is when leaders have complete power over their people. That's correct. No? The staff and the team members have little opportunity to make suggestions, even if this would be in teams or the organization's best interest. So in short, sa Bisaya pa na ito nga pagka-explain, kaninga kind of leadership is a kind of leadership nga kanang hakog o si term kanang hakog siya o dili niya gayo ginatagaan o opportunity ang iyang mga subordinates, iyang mga colleagues nga maghatag og idea, maghatag og suggestion kay tungod kani nga kind of leadership kanang mura siya og know it all, no? Kanang autocratic siya, gusto niya i-control ang tanan, no? Kung maghatag mag suggestion, i-hear man na niya, but at the end of the day, ang kani nga leader kung sa may iyang desisyonan, mo ura gud gihapon ang iyang sundon. No? Actually, there are advantages. No, there are a lot of disadvantages for this kind of leadership, but there are also advantages. Ano sa kailangan gamit or kano sa gamit ang autocratic leadership? Now, when you are in an emergency, what do you call this? When you are in an emergency decision making, so hindi naman ta pwede magkaroon of democratic way of leadership. Tsaka mag-consulta pa ka sa tibok nimong subordinates. Kailangan siya, let's say, mga 5 hours, 2 hours, or nga mga oras lang, short time, na kailangan na mo mag-decide. So, an autocratic leadership can be employed, especially if that kind of leader has really thorough knowledge over that kind of specific activity, specific project. So, kailangan ka magamit ng autocratic leadership. But again, it's not all the time nga okay ang autocratic leadership kasi naapod kayo sa masagasaan nga mga empleyado, no, or mga colleagues nimo, let's say gwapo din siya, better din siya nga idea niya, kadaghanan mo ang gusto, Pero kay you are employing autocratic leadership, dili gyud close-minded gyud ka kung sa imong desisyon, muo lang gyud ang imong sundon. Okay, nasabtan? But I would also like to give credit sa idea ni Rondina. Generally, yun na nga, when you say leadership, you really give idea to your colleagues what are the things that they need to do. Okay? So, let's have bureaucratic leadership. So, let's have bureaucratic leadership. When you talk of bureaucratic leadership, it is where leaders strictly follow rules. This is where leaders strictly follow rules and ensure that their people follow procedures accurately. So again, pag bureaucratic way of leadership ang imong ginasunod, you really strictly follow rules and ensure that their people follow procedures accurately. So, kung unsa tong naa sa inyong accurately. So, unsa tong nasa company policy, ang sa mga rules and regulations, mo gyud to ug musukwahi gani ka mapanisyan jud ka or na jud kay sanction, no? Kasi nga with this kind of leadership, they really follow rules and regulations or protocols. Di ka pwede mo-deviate protocols. Protocols. Yan, protocols. No? Also, bureaucratic leadership is also useful in organization where employees do routine tasks as in like manufacturing. So, kung na-apply disadvantage ani kasi nga pag musuklahi ka sa mga rules and regulation, sorry, matagaan kang sanction or makasapan ka. But the thing about this is ang magamit ni siya sa mga organizations nga na routinary task or ka ng mga balik-balik na ganyan trabahoon. Siyempre, pag balik-balik yung trabahoon, you really need to follow the exact procedure, the exact process para dili mamali ang imong kinabuhat. It's just that the disadvantage lang ani nga leadership style is that it is ineffective in teams and organizations that rely on flexibility, creativity, or innovation. Like karon sa modern world, dili na ni siya applicable, no? Kay kung mag-apply na kag bureaucratic agrobing stricto nimo sa rules and regulation, dili jud ka mo sabot sa imong mga empleyado, and where it really calls flexibility, dapat creativity, dapat na innovation, wala, dili jud ka mag-grow. Kasi nga example, ingon ka sa ingon ka nga rule number 1 is to just follow what the main design is. Pero kay naaday mga artistic na mga idea nga maka-create og good product na mas better pa over the other niya man yung competitor kay mas gwapo na kay packaging, gwapo na og product nga gi-present niya na yung mga empleyado ko inside the organization again na mga na creative minds. Kunya dili nimo sila sundon, no? Dili mo sila i-acknowledge kay tungod bureaucratic ka kanang nag-follow jud ka, strictly follow jud ka no sa procedures accurately. So ma-defeat ang purpose karon nga panahon nga naa kay innovation. So again dili na ni pwede, dili siya applicable for some areas sa karon nga panahon. But again, applicable lang na siya if the tasks are in routinary. Routine. Or sorry po, if the task is in routine task. Routine, daily routinary na siya, kanang may balik-balik na lang imong trabaho. Like, example sa manufacturing processes. Yeah. Do you follow? Can I hear a yes if you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you. Ayan. So, just butt in ha, if ever na hindi lang nasabtan or gusto explain. And then we have charismatic leadership. Okay. Then we have charismatic leadership. So this style resembles transformational leadership because this leader inspire enthusiasm in their teams and are energetic in motivating others to move forward. Again, this kind of leadership style inspire enthusiasm in their teams and are energetic in motivating others to move forward. Okay, maybe we have here. I mean, ayan. Okay, so these charismatic leaders inspire enthusiasm in their teams and are energetic in motivating others to move forward. So di ba makadungog ka nga ka ng taas kay anong charisma no? Taas kay siya charisma. Like siguro Vico, 'di ba? Mayor Vico is a charismatic leader. He inspires enthusiasm sa kanyang team and he is energetic in motivating others to move forward. Like, di ba karon nagawaran siya unsa kitong award sa iya sa or katong walay corruption. I think dili kay ko ka verbatim sa jutong tawag sa iyang award, pero sort of related to siya nga anti or dili siya na wala siya corruption something and ang iyang gitubag na wala daw corruption kung tarungon man something to pagdala o ang syudad or ang city ay nasakupan. I think they have saved, kung wala ko nagkamali ha, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 million budget sa ilahang city, no, kasi nga maraog na siya gipang device ng mga things na nakasave. So that is one example of a charismatic leader. When they are enthusiastic with their teams, kanang willing gani kayo sila to really help their teams. They are so energetic, ma-motivate ang uban to move forward. Kaya may ibang leader nga, sige, buhata lang niya, okay, go. Napoy man buhata ni, muni ang gisugo, But this charismatic leader are really kanang mangunay sila ba, sobrang kumaano pa niyo sila, they are kind of mga happy person, energetic person who really value you, no, na nadalaon jud kanila, i-motivate you kanila to really move forward, to really grow. That is that kind of charismatic leader. How about democratic or participative leader? May I call on mga basic na lang niya akong ginapangutana sa inyo. Asylum, Angelica.
Wala daw siya ikuan, ma'am. Signal daw po.
Siya signal. Sige. Si Queenie na lang di, please. Queenie Bulicatin. Democratic leader. Anyone? Queenie, ako wala dong gano kay si Queenie o ang iyang kaapelyido pareha. Si Aljo, Bulicati. Medyo ko kadong pa nilang mga tingo. Alam mo. You are, again, let me remind you, you are the one who's making your grade, ha? Not me. Ay, ko lang kung magtudlo sa inyo, ha? Kung mag-input sa inyong mga scores. Kanya, 15% ba ya? Kung wala ko nagkamali ang composition sa oral recitation. Sige. Let's have Pendo Lopogan. What is your idea about democratic or participative leadership? Lapogan. Kung walay signal, but still you're here, the group chat is very open. No, the group chat is very open. You can always write there your answer. Your own answer, not copy-pasted. Glenda Lupogan, what is your idea about democratic or participative leadership?
Democratic leadership is one that leadership has the opportunity to collaborate with the
Let me have an audio check. Nilo, how's my
Okay lang po, ma'am.
clear?
Yes po,
Clear
ma'am.
siya?
Yes po.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. There's an affirmation na okay ang ako audio. Si Glendo, sige, I cannot wait. Hindi ko si Glendo. Let me have,
Ma'am,
Pastor
volunteer po.
Irish. Sige, sino yan? Kindly acknowledge yourself.
Bacchus po.
Charlene? Abacus, yeah, Bacchus, go on.
Okay, ma'am. Sa democratic man to, ma'am, na democratic leadership, sa democratic leadership, ma'am, kung sa previous nga mga styles is like kanang ang mga taas lang nga mga tao ang pwede nga mo handle sa employer, katong mga, like for example, ang mga manager lang po or katong mga employee lang ang makahandle sa ilang mga employers kay. Sa democratic leadership din, ma'am, is kanang mas ang ilaha is kanang gina-motivate sila ang every participant or ang mga tao or members sa isang organization or kanang apil sila nga mohimo sa mga decision or apil sila sa decision making process, then apil po diri, ma'am, is ang i-encourage sila nga mo participate sa tanang activity sa company.
Okay, thank you so much, dear, Judelaine Bacchus. So, all the things that Ms. Judelaine have explained are correct, no? The main point of what she explained was in democratic or participative leadership style is that the leader gives opportunity to employees to be part of the decision making. Even though in the democratic, the leader is the one who gives the final decision. The final decision. However, he or she, I mean the leader, includes the team members. So even though si leader, again, ang nag-hatag sa decision or nag-ano sa decision making, but para ma-come up to nga final decision making, gina-ask niya ang suggestion, ideas from the body or from the team lead. Just like our country, we are democratic country. Kasi nga, dili pwede nga si President na, which is the executive body, ang mag-decide. Diba? Sa governance, natin tulo ka branch, which is the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. No? So, si legislative, ang nagamake og law. Pero before that, mga senators, napanay mga baba, mga congressman, and so on, congressman ang tingog sa ato ang sa syudad, and syudad is from municipality is from barangay, at mga barangay assembly, and so on. Sa asya nga proseso, but to make it short, may proseso bago ang usa ka balaod, finalize nga balaod, and i-execute siya from the executive branch. So, daghan pa siya kagian. No? So, in short, si President ang mag-execute, makes the final decision, pero naay mga other branches, will check, no, kung kani nga decision making, kani nga balaod nga bukon is mauyunan ba sa atin. Okay, that is democratic or participative leadership. Okay, so Angelica Asilum has also an idea which she said, democratic leadership, inatagaan og chance ang uban motingog, ma'am. makakontribute na ng leader ko. Yeah, sorry. Tama. Also, Angelica. So, ginatagaan ng chance ang uban na makashare sila mga ideas. Okay? So, very good. Thank you. Now, let's proceed to laissez-faire or laissez-faire leadership or leadership style. So, this describes leader who allow their people to work on their own. So, this leadership allow people to work on their own. Now, commonly, as we coin the term, atong inato nga term lang, no, ginatawag nato ni silang mga, ano ba, kaning leader is dawlem, no, dawat limpyo, no, igo ra magpatrabaho sa uban. Okay, na ate project, buhatan ni ninyo. Wala siya personal touch, personal connection sa iyang mga subordinates, sa iyang mga team. Yan lang yung ipa-trabaho siya. And then, this kind of leader takes all the credit. No, pag mahuman ang trabaho, naman yung patrabaho, iya po ang punon nga iyahan ng accomplishment. So, this is not a good leadership style and this should not be practiced. No? I-appeal lang ni siya as kind of leadership style because in reality, there are really leaders who are like this one. No? They allow people to work on their own without even guidance, without even explaining to them that should be the thing that they need to do. Okay, basta buhatan lang ninyo, anak. Again, na yung mga inaanak ng mga leader. Kabaliktaran ba na sa ako ganina mga katong autocratic? Yes, tama ka. Oo. Tama ka, Rondina. Somewhat, no? Sabi ni Rondina, pag sinabing, I think si Rondina, gina-refer niya ang democratic. Pag autocratic, ibig sabihin, you are the one who decides. Democratic, you give other people the chance to speak up. Okay, so tama yan, Rondina. Ang democratic and autocratic are two opposite ways or two opposite leadership styles. Okay, so ako na lang ma-explain para madali tayo till 11. So, another leadership style is the people-oriented leadership style. So, this refers to leaders who are focused on organizing, supporting, and developing people on their team. So, organizing, supporting, and developing people on their teams. Ayan. So, again, kanina leadership style nag-focus, no, or a kind of leader na nag-organize, nag-support, and nag-develop sa ilang team. No? That's why it's called people-oriented. Kasi nga, this kind of leader really devotes time, effort, no, to really be connected with his or her team. But this particular style or this participatory style tends to encourage good teamwork and create collaboration among teams. People-oriented leaders treat everyone on team equally. They are approachable leaders. They pay attention to the needs and welfare for everyone in the group. And when team members need help or advice, they always make themselves available. So team members are more productive and willing to take risks since they're aware that their leader will support them. So this is really a good kind of leadership. No, kay tungod pro tao siya, makatao siya. Una siya dira magsuporta, mag-organize, mag-develop sa tao. Yan ginatabangan na mag-grow ang sa tao or sa iyahang subordinates or employee. Another is task-oriented leadership. So this emphasizes on the word task. Now this emphasizes on task completion and deadlines. So this leader looks at the skill, expertise, and knowledge of the individual in attaining leadership. Leaders that use this style tend to develop structured workplace with clearly defined schedules, task assignments, and deadlines. So task-oriented leaders have a strong orientation for getting the job done and done on time. It's just that this leadership style can have, or I mean, the major drawback of an excessive task orientation is a workforce with low morale. So employees that are self-motivated find high task-oriented leaders to be non-trusting. So they feel micromanaged or oppressed in task-orientation environment. Low morale contributes to high employee turnover. So task orientation also inhibits employee creativity. Employees that get used to having tasks and responsibilities clearly defined may give up on thinking flexibility. This can stifle
them from showing customized care and for customer service situation. So in short, kung kaning people-oriented or all positive no naga-support sa tao, this one is task-oriented, naga-focus lang dyan din siya nga style on the task itself. Very nag-emphasize good siya sa completion and the deadlines. Now with this, ma-defeat ang purpose sa example sa flexibility, no, sa autonomy nga imong ihatag sa imong empleyado, in which sila unta free unta sila maka, let's say for the goodness, for the betterment of their work, maka-innovate na maging mas mapagwapo pa ilang trabaho. But when you are task oriented, you really stick on what the task is all about. Nakaihatag nga procedure, nakaihatag nga process, ug mo lang gyud to imong gusto nga sundon. O kanini ni hiwi lang siya gamay, let's say na siya template nga gibuhat nga mas gwapo to. So di na maukay mo gyud ni siya dapat ang gisugo, mo gyud ang hanay. So di siya gusto og mga modification. Rather, nag-focus lang gyud siya sa ang task itself, sa ang nasa procedure. Okay? Then another, we have servant leadership. When someone at any level within an organization leads by meeting the needs of the team. So servant leaders often lead by example. So often lead by example. Then they have high integrity and lead with generosity. So it's like this is the very trend actually, no, servant leadership, no, which we need to practice. It's like the concept na if you want to be served, be a servant of all. Mark ana ba? Diba? If you want to become a leader, know how to become a follower. It's like that ba? Na when you are a leader, you don't think na okay, I have this kind of responsibility. Ako gyud ang mangunay, ako gyud ang hawd. No, you do not put that in yourself, or you do not put that in your mind. But rather think that when you become a leader, you are a servant, no? Like ginastorya guys sa ato ani President, diba? President Duterte, sabi niya sa atin, kanang ano lang daw siya, mere common servant to daw siya sa Filipino. Hindi niya iniisip na president siya, siya ang hawd sa tanan. But the position that he has now is an instrument that where he can extend help to us, no? sa nasakupan niya. Okay, that should be the thing that we need to have when we want to become servant leadership or servant leader rather. Then we have transactional leadership. No? So transactional leadership starts with team members who agree to obey their leader when they accept a job. So transaction involves organization paying team members in return for their effort and compliance. From the term transactional, so this kind of leadership is really focused on the trabaho, on the work itself. It's more on parang sometimes the drawback of this is that the team can do little to improve their job satisfaction. So it has serious limitation for knowledge-based or creative work. Employee skills suppressed, which can lead to high employee turnover. Kanang maraog very transactional lang kayo, maraog kung okay, buhatan ni nga report, pasalis ako ana lang ang relationship nato. Muna siya nga kind of leadership. Muna siya ang kind of proseso ang ginagamit sa ka-leader. Okay, tomorrow tagai ko og ani nga document, paabot sa akong table by 9 AM. Okay. Wala siya touch of wala kanang bang Mustafa, wala na siya mga inana. Kaning kind of leadership is really more on the transactional. Basta mabuhatan ni may job, then you're good to go. Pero ang disadvantage lang nga ani, well, syempre, on the part of the employee, dili ka masatisfied. Unsa man akong trabaho nga trabaho anay. Tinuod, as trabahante, nagapangita tao trabaho nga makakwarta ta. But it's still different when we have that kind of leader that we can feel, we can talk to, we can somehow feel that we are being valued, no? Lami po to siya sa feeling. And mas makamotivate na siya sa mga empleyado if you are that kind of leader. And lastly is the transformational leadership. So this is often the best, sabi dito, this is often the best leadership style to use in business situations. Situations. Transformation leaders are inspiring because they expect the best from everyone on their team, as well as themselves. So this leads to high productivity and engagement from everyone in their team. So from that word, root word, transform, no? This kind of leader is really aiming that their subordinates, their colleagues will really transform. Kung dati luya ka, kung dati wala kay kang knowledge for this work, this kind of leader will not stop unless you're gonna transform into a better or excellent person. No, kaya nga sinabi, ito ang best leadership style. Kasi nga, kung sa ano pa malaog, gina-feel yun sa leader na ikaw is really valuable person. Okay, gusto yun niya nga, na yun kayo may balaan, ma-develop yun ka, mag-grow yun ka. Okay, so that's transformational leadership. Okay, questions so far for the 11 leadership styles? Meron bang tanong?
Wala po, ma'am.
Wala na. Okay.
Wala na, ma'am.
Alright. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something, no, from the discussion we had this morning. And maybe we shall continue our discussion tomorrow, still at the same time, 10 a.m. Kasi ano muna tayo, sa 11 a.m. na naman tayo, nag-exceed the data sa time for our part 2 and 3 class. Okay?
Okay,
Okay po, ma'am.
May mga tanong kayo, you can still send me a private message kung basta mga maulaw lang mo mga tanong. By the way, I already uploaded this lesson sa Keeper. Okay. Thank you and God bless, keep safe. See you in another link. Bye-bye.